somebody studied all those who are dying. So before they die, what is their last wish in their life? And so she has covered five wishes of people who about to die. And somebody said, I wish I would have lived better with my family and my friends. Somebody would have said, yeah, I wish I would have, I should not have worked hard. And somebody said, no, yeah, I would have got an opportunity to express my feelings. It would have been good in life. And somebody said, yeah, I would have lived what I wanted to live instead of what life offered me. So these are all the wishes of people when they finish their life on this world. Yeah, so everyone has different wishes. For somebody, life goes really well and good, and they think about things they did not enjoy. But for somebody, always it is a tough battle. They feel it would have been happier. They would have felt satisfied when they die. So we see the life during the time of chaos. So we believe in God, how God is leading us, how God is with us. During the time of chaos, yeah, I would rather die instead of I live and I experience all this difficulty. But at the time of death, they feel, yeah, it would have been much better. The life of Elijah, as we sing these are the days of Elijah. When Elijah was a powerful priest, so he was doing very great things at the time when all the prophets were killed by Jezebel. After Jezebel hears this news, she says, if I would not have done the same thing to you, let my gods watch over me. Tomorrow, if I do not do the same thing to you, let my gods do as severe to me. So till now, Elijah was a powerful priest. He was doing greater things. Even he was very courageous to proclaim God, and he killed so many idol priests. And now, as soon as he hears Jezebel challenging Elijah, so chaos coming into his life. So in our life, when we go through chaotic situations, it's difficult to think about God. Always we choose to walk in the wilderness because that's how chaos works. So we would have tried and we would have hoped something would work in a way how we expect because we worship a true God. Same way when Jonah, he was worshiping God, he was talking to God, and God is telling Jonah, Jonah, you go, these people are doing more evil, go and preach them. So he was saying it, Lord, you are rich in love, slow to anger. But when God told him to go and tell, he cannot accept. So he chose to walk in the wilderness. So in our life also, when things goes what we expect is it happening, then our life goes very smooth. But sometimes we feel, okay, this is not working, and next that's also not working. Then we enter into a chaos. So this is the time we forget to go back to God. Rather, we choose, Lord, I always depended on you. I always relied on you, but you did not answer. I'll choose the wilderness. So that's how Elijah chose a wilderness and he was running away from God. In our lives, many times we come across when things doesn't work in the way we expect, instead of going back to God because we feel, Lord, I'm again and again coming and praying, but things are not changing. My circumstances are not changing. It's going worse. I would rather die, or I would rather choose to live on my own way. The problem is when we choose the wilderness, we walk away from God and we go into a deeper darkness. It's not God is taking us into the darkness, but even those darkness, God always looking at us. Like when Elijah was, running away and he was sleeping somewhere. God sent his angel to knock him. Then he is, waking up, and the angel of God saying it, "You are feeling hungry, eat the bread." And then he has the food, and again he goes to sleep because he was very angry. So during the time of chaos, he cannot be able to accept how God behaves in our life. So again, he went into sleep. I would rather die. I don't want to live my life because God is not honoring me. I've done so many things for God, but my life is not in a way. I don't expect a big honor or appreciation or rewards, but at least it should go very smooth. But God did not help me. Now Jezebel challenged. So in our life, many times situations like Jezebel, so many people can challenge us, like so your life it won't go in the right direction, so I'll take a revenge, something like that. So whenever we come across a chaotic moment in our life, so we choose a wilderness. So Jonah chose to walk into wilderness. So when he is walking into wilderness, it's not God is pushing us towards a darkness in our life. It is our choice. So we tend to walk away from God because God did not honor us. God did not, listen to our prayers. Or God did not do in the way how we wanted things to happen in our life. So yeah, so now Jonah went away, and then the storm hitting the ship. Even the people of the captain of the ship, or the people who are in the ship, they are trying to protect Jonah. And after they hear, and he is saying, "I worship the God who created the heaven and earth and the sea." Then they got terrified. They wanted to save because they don't know if they do something to this guy, his God can do something to us. They were very terrified. They do not want to harm him because after they know he is worshipping a precious God. But Jonah did not realize. He was always thinking God did not honor him. How much honor God brings wherever you go. That's the honor always God gives to his children. And afterwards, yeah, Jonah saying like, "Yeah, this is my mistake, throw me away." Then as soon as they threw him down, the sea became quiet. So now Jonah thought, so he was already dead. That's what he chose. In our lives, when we come across a chaos, sometimes we feel like, yeah, so instead of living this life, I would rather choose not to live. Same way, John also decided, he thought as soon as he was thrown away in the sea, thrown down in the sea, he was done. His life was over. Later, he was realizing it. Still, God's hand is upon him. Still, God is caring for him. Still, God is protecting him. Now he is realizing, Lord, I walk into the darkness, still you hear me. I go into the valley of death, and still you carry me. And now he is, realizing it. God, God is the God who protects, even when we choose to walk in the wilderness. And again, he is getting away, and then he is going and preaching the word of God. Elijah, same way, God, again, God waking him up, giving him food. God is telling him, Elijah, you have to do more. Yeah, what are you doing here? So again, Elijah chose, I would rather die instead of living. So God gave him food and everything, and then Again, he is continuing his journey. But in case of Jonah, so he went and he preached, and people repented. Again, he could not accept. So the same God who forgiven Jonah when he chose to walk in the wilderness, he could not accept. Lord, this is why I told I do not go to this city. You are a God who shows your love. You are rich in love, slow to anger. But now, so even after the people realized their mistake, they were hoping this God can forgive them, and he was just waiting to see what God is going to do in their life. And after some time, like so we know the story. A plant is growing, and then it got withered. Now again deciding, okay, I would rather die instead of living. God is asking Jonah, is it bad to is it the right thing to worry for a thing you did not tender for? Jonah is saying, yes, Lord, that's wrong. That's wrong, Lord. I would rather die. So many times we do not understand when we are in chaos why God is doing certain things. The same God who created us, the same God who created everyone in this world. So whenever we feel we are forgiven, the same God who is forgiving everyone in the world. So we think he doesn't care us. God doesn't protect us during the time of chaos. But we need to know whatever happens in our life, He always cares us. But something looks peculiar to us, something looks strange to us that we cannot accept, like Elijah. He cannot accept because he dedicated his life for God, and God used Elijah mightily during his time. But when he heard Jezebel is going to take a revenge, he forgot everything, how mightily God used him, how powerful he was before God's eyes. He was running in fear. So now God is telling him, get up and go. Now he is going to the mountain Horeb. So he is going to seek God. So when we go through chaotic moments in our life, that's what we hear the voice of God. When we choose to walk into the wilderness, God always say, go to worship God. Go to the mountain where you worship God. And Elijah going there, God is showing him what it means. When he was standing, there was a powerful wind blowing. So, when you are standing in the mountain to seek the face of God, and now a heavy wind is blowing it, then he would die. Because even if you are standing in the a plain land, when a force wind comes, we all fall down. So, imagine how it would have been when he was standing in the mountain. A powerful wind is blowing. He was shaken. Lord, I would rather die there, and you have taken me here. And what's happening? Nothing happened. So that's what we need to know. Whatever can happen, a powerful wind can blow in our life that we feel we will finish. We will vanish in this wind. But God showed Elijah, you are still alive. Nothing will harm you. And again, so he got into uh, earthquake. So imagine when you are standing in the mountain, the earth is started shaking. So again he felt, Lord, I would rather die in the place where I was where I wanted to be. But now you took me into the mountain. Now it's earthquake. Again it was started shaking, but he cannot find God. At the same time, he also did not die. So that's what God shows us in our life. Circumstance looks like it's dangerous, looks like there is no hope, or it looks like our chapter in life is going to over. But God always shows us it will not harm us. Again, fire comes, that also did not harm anything. So after that, he comes to an understanding, nothing will harm him. Now he looks into God. So whether it is a storm, or it is a fire, or it is a earthquake, even everyone in the world can, feel the fear of ending their life. So in our life also, when we go through chaotic moments, when we choose wilderness, God will tell us it will not harm you. It looks like it's an earthquake, everyone else will feel, you lose your life. It looks like a fire, it will consume you. But God tells us, no, it will not harm you. All that we need to do, go back to God, worship God. Instead of we choose to go into the wilderness. Even during those times, God's hand is always protecting us. So whenever we feel tired during the chaotic moments in our life, God will not forget us. Maybe things will work completely different than what we expected. That doesn't mean God will allow us to situations to harm. Even during the time, God is always protecting us. That's what God showed Elijah. Elijah, the earthquake come, the powerful wind can blow, it can wipe away anybody, the fire can come down, but it will not consume you. Still you are alive. You are afraid of Jezebel revenge. Somebody is trying to harm you. You choose to walk into the wilderness, go back to God, worship God, nothing will harm you. Whatever calamity happens around you, it will not harm you. You don't choose to walk into the wilderness. When Jonah chose to walk into the wilderness, he chose to walk into the darkness. He thought it is going to end, but God is always telling us whatever you see in your life, it looks like this is a dangerous, this is not giving any future to you, this is not giving anything which you are hoping for. But don't choose wilderness. Always go back to God. God is a God who is gracious. Even at times when we choose to walk in the wilderness, He is always coming along with us. His hand is always protecting us. So that's what we need to remember. One thing, when we go through chaotic situations in our life, let's choose to go to God instead of walking into the wilderness.